Happy Friday, YouTube, and good morning to everybody as well. I hope you guys are having a great week in sales. I hope you've made your goals, and if not, then I really hope that you're able to make changes, find the solution to what you're looking for. But I wanted to get on here because a lot of you guys know that I'm onboarding for Senior Life right now. And the biggest reason we're doing it is because Senior Life allows us, one, to do financing, lead financing. So we're able to provide our agents final expense, customer initiated inbounds, and we can charge your account when you make a commission. Now, I will caution you, if you come and you don't take your leads and you put charges on there, then we're going to have to charge your credit card just like anybody else. So we're generating a lot of interest. Senior Life is growing right now because mainly they have an incredible telesales platform to submit applications. And overall, they've been the pioneers of telesales when you do your research. For myself, I've been with Senior Life for over a decade. I've enjoyed the renewals. As they say, Senior Life all my life. And they do what they say they're going to do. And that means a lot to me. So if you're watching this might interest you. So some agents, like the agent that I have on today, Dan Caldwell, he could care less about the lead financing. In fact, he paid up front for his leads, no problem. But not everyone is like Dan. And I want Dan, to share with all of you guys a little bit of his story, and more importantly, what his first week has been here working with us. And the goal, truly, when I asked Dan if he would do us a favor and provide us with his point of view, the goal is to help you. I've been doing this 20 years. There's no question if you can make money for me. I've raised my 4 kids. My life hasn't been perfect. 2 ex-wives, high child support. We live in the state of California, high taxes. But regardless of all that, we have great weather, good air quality. But the point is, I've always been able to feed my family, cover my immediate dues through insurance sales, but more importantly, my favorite, final expense renewals. Once you get a taste of passive income in the form of insurance renewals, it changes you. You're thinking differently. When you wake up every month on a specific day that the carrier processes all those payments that they collected from your clients, and they send you a thank you check, let me tell you something, it gets addicting. And the first question you have is, how can I make that residual check bigger and bigger and bigger? But what you notice is that check eventually becomes massive, and it's covering your cost of living. That's the goal. And I've been able to enjoy that. There's been times in my life where I was sick. There was times in my life where I had to take time off to deal with my kids. But my income never took a beat. Why? Because of insurance renewals. So this industry is great if you focus and if you obviously can find your rhythm. There's a lot of information on the web today. Some of it's good, some of it is not so good. So the goal here today is provide all of you guys that are on the fence just the perspective of somebody that's just starting out here. We don't want to sugarcoat stuff because nothing's perfect, but we want to provide you with as much information as you need and as we can possibly present to you here, so you can make a decision if joining our team makes sense to you. So with that said, I want to talk to Mr. Dan Caldwell. Dan has, you know, we've known each other for maybe 2, 3 years. We have communicated back together, but we've never really done nothing until now. And I'm excited that Dan has given us the opportunity to work with him. But with that said, Dan, can you share with everybody that's listening here today a little bit about your background? Start there.
Yeah. Hey, sure. Yeah. Thanks for having me on. You're breaking up a little bit, so hopefully I'm not. But yeah, I've been in sales. Was with the largest or the second largest MLM company. Don't beat me up for it. But and I did very well. Was making a healthy six-figure income and built everything through lead generation. And one thing I did love about it was the process. And we can't do lead generation anymore with that company. So I started looking around. I found insurance a few years ago, and a lot of people call it a practice company. It was a captive company, and it was great though. I got great learning experience, great process down. They just didn't have enough leads or a process for me to work from home, truly work from home. And then I saw Laurel, and I've kicked around, and I've tried a couple other companies, and they always say, they've got the best X, Y, and Z. And I'd always find myself on these giant calls, just a number with 50 other people. And it was all raw. It was not meat and potatoes. And so finally, I kept seeing Laurel's videos. And finally, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. Well, it's been with you, Laurel, it's been completely like night and day. I mean, from the first week, I said, yep, let's do it. I mean, putting down the money for the leads, it's a lot of money. However, these are leads I know I've been on with him that come right to you. If you haven't heard these calls, they're ridiculous. I mean, you are getting to the meat and potatoes of their health within 1 minute. It's they know why they're calling in, and they're calling in. But it's not just the lead, there's the process. So the process of the lead I saw, well, that's it. Well, now how is the training for me taking over and being able to talk to that person, putting it into the CRM, putting it into Senior Life? That's where you've come in this last week. And you've taken me literally from not knowing the script, not knowing the CRM, not knowing anything this last week, and completely got me up to speed, not by being on some giant call with 100 people, but literally one-on-one with 1, 2, 3 people in a group and going through everything. I mean, nobody's ever taken the time to look at the marketing. These are the products we have. This is how they'll pay you. These are the ones you want to lead with. They give them good coverage, but look at what you make on this one. So he took the time to go through it, also took the time for me to understand what each one meant for the customer. And then going through the script, role playing, understanding the CRM. I mean, I'm completely ready to go in 1 week. I'm like waiting now. Okay, we're on right now. I'm waiting for a call to come in.
And
And
if
I'm
the call
ready.
comes
This will be
through,
my
man,
first.
take it, bro. Take
Yeah,
that call for
yeah.
sure.
No, yeah, and maybe they'll hear some of it. But this has never happened before. Going back to the practice company, when I went out with them and I shadowed them in somebody's living room, this is the closest thing I've seen. But it's virtual. You're in California, I'm in Utah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is insane. And I'm getting that same type of one-on-one mentoring. So it's just been great.
And I'm happy you share that because, when I started selling insurance, I had a mentor too, man. Someone that was out there. I mean, Ray Berrigan Sr., he didn't have to work. I mean, he was so successful, and he was an older gentleman. And it would just impress me that he would drive 2 hours from where he lived to go and work with me back in the days when we'd knock on doors. And that in itself impacted me because he was out there with me. And
Yeah.
that type of leadership has always, been with me, because that's what helped me all these years. And truly, ladies and gentlemen, that's the best way to train people. Not telling them, showing them. Everybody learns different. I still get on the phone, I still make presentations, but more importantly, throughout the day, I run 3 sales meetings, and part of that is really shadowing you, helping you, regardless of who you work for. I help agencies from all walks of life. This morning, Mr. Dan caught me in a meeting where I was helping and coaching an agency that has nothing to do with me and Senior Life. But we've been doing this for so long that, this is what we'd like to do. Another thing that I wanted to touch on is how important selling and having a good sales presentation is, as well as how important your closing is. And Mr. Dan, in our training, has been able to see examples of other people's that don't have a system, a duplicatable, predictable system. And he's been able to see that, not just him, but every agent that we've been training and recruiting to Senior Life, they've been able to see this pattern. And the pattern that I'm talking about is that most people, when they think of telesales, they're saying, hey, I'm just looking for a lead, Laurel, a good quality lead. You can't show me nothing. I've been selling insurance for XYZ years, so just give me a hot lead. In most cases, you can have the best lead in the world. And that's where having a good sales system, having your closing skills down matter. Because if those are not down, ladies and gentlemen, I promise you, your closing ratios will be dirt low. You'll be upset because you're not converting enough to make a profit. And then you don't buy another lead. And I'll give you guys an example of what your typical agent is doing in terms of a presentation. I'm going to read it from you. I'm going to read it here, okay? I'm going to read it. Good morning. This is Laurel. How can I help you? Customer says, it's an inbound. Customer says, hey, I'm calling on the ad. I'm looking for this final expense. This is what 90% of telephone agents are doing, and closing 8 to 10% if they're lucky. Wow, well, was this policy for yourself or a loved one? Well, I was calling in for me. Well, Johnny Carpenter, I'm a broker. I represent over 25 insurance carriers. And the way these policies work is that they're pretty simple. They're based on your health and your age. So what we're going to do is fill out an application. We're going to send it to the insurance company to see if you qualify. Now, don't worry, we don't require any money today to see if you qualify. But before I do, if I find anything that makes sense to you and your budget, do you have a checking or savings account to pay for this today? If they say no, they hang up the phone. If they say this, then they go into a basic 3 or 4 health questions, and they come back with a handful of rates. 5 minutes. Over and over and over, I see this pattern. And I train agents against this. And Mr. Dan, can you share with people what you've witnessed, not what you've heard, what you have witnessed? Can you share what you've seen and why this is so important, and why we dedicate time to making sure that our agents are fully trained with this psychology?
Yeah, I mean, the lead quality is just incredible, but then you've got to have an exact process, and that's what you have. And, you would see people on every call that would get off their process. They might have had one to start with, but they get flustered. I mean, these people have been doing it for years, I can tell. And, with these leads, I know these call centers are getting like 25%. Well, how come you're promoting 40%? It's because you're ironclad to the process.
And let me clear something up for all of you guys. Now that 40% is based on conversions.
But you go
If I
forward,
take,
and I saw
right, if I take 5 calls today, I know on that first contact, I'm gonna knock 1 or 2 right off the top, meaning I submit it. But there's 3 or 4 other calls out of those 5 that I might have made a full presentation, but I needed a bank account, or I needed some piece of information, or it requires a follow-up call. When you look at a month's worth of activity, you start noticing a pattern of conversions because you're following a process. It's like today. Today I've been on training all morning working with Dan, but I got 3 cases that I know I'm finalizing today. 2 of them is a husband and wife that I spoke to 2-3 weeks ago, and they literally put me off because they had to think about it. That's really their objection, and that's what it came down to. It wasn't even a price issue. It came down to they had to think about it. Here we are 3 weeks later, and finally this afternoon, those 2 apps are happening. $187 for husband and wife. My other customer, I talked to him a month ago. Same thing. He was caught up on price. I quoted him the lowest price I can possibly do for the coverage. And here I am. Finally, I got a commitment from him. But if you ask me how much I followed up, every single day, I'd make a phone call, drop a text message. Text messages can vary. But every day I'd make sure I'm dropping a phone call. And eventually, they'll either pick up the phone, tell me to beat it, never call again. They're not interested. Hey, it's sales. But then you get that 30% that says, you know what? I'm sorry. I was out of town. I've been so busy. Let's go. You have 95% of the information except for that 5% you're missing. So the lead quality is important, yes. But like Dan's saying, you got to have a process. One thing that Dan didn't really touch on is that in his business of multi-level marketing, the way that works is based on a duplicatable process. So these companies figure out a way that they can recruit people, and they have a duplicatable training system that's easy to follow. And they do what? $1 billion, the company you're working for, right? $1 billion a year, or some ridiculous number?
no, you're like 5 billion.
5 billion?
Yeah.
So again, guys, these agents that follow a system, have a predictable system, are just going to have more success. So if you're watching this, you're on the fence, I encourage you to reach out to me. Let's talk. If you want to join in on one of our training sessions we do daily, as long as you're a licensed agent, I will let you in on one. You just have to sign a couple disclosures to let you in, and you can see for yourself. I do my best to post as much as I can on my social media platforms to give you guys a window so you can see what it is that we do. But I want you to know that if you do join us, this is not the type of a partnership where I just recruit you and I send you to do it on your own. Not at all. We got trainers here. I train myself, and we lead from the front to show you exactly how to close out an application and how to keep that application paying. Because what good is it if you're writing business but it's falling off the books? That's not fun. So, Dan, is there anything else that you would like to share or say to the people that are watching this? You know, just
Yeah,
based on your experience, you know, especially if they're on the fence. I know a lot of
there's
people, when they think about having to pay up front, it's like they're nervous, and I understand. I understand.
well,
But
there's a great
I hope this helps.
saying.
Yeah, go ahead
There's
now.
a great there's a great saying that it's not where you are, it's who you're with.
Right.
And so we're not just in insurance, we're not just with senior life. The contract level that Laurel can offer in senior life or in other carriers, you can't get at these other places that I've been with. So he's got that, and then you're just not going to get everything that I've done this week. I've looked at it because I've also trained like thousands of people. And the simplicity of it, in my head, I'm going, this is so simple. This is so simple. If I can do this, anybody can do this.
Right.
So I just thank you, man. I appreciate this last week and a half.
I'm excited for you, because, going through the last few hours, you had your process down. And for me, once I can determine the agent has the process down completely, because an agent can give you lip service and say, I've already done it, I got it down. They skim through the script, and then you hear them on the phone, and what are they doing? Throwing out rates, I'm a broker, and then they're on the phones for a long time, and it's deflating to hear them when they walk away with no sale. It sucks. It's like when you go fishing and you got the fish on the hook and you're all excited and you're like, woo! And you lose them because you didn't have the right hook. You didn't tie the knot. Same thing with what we do. If you're out there on the phone and you're just pitching and shooting from the hip and you don't have a process, how can you scale? How can you do it every single day? You can't. And I challenge anyone to prove me wrong. So if you're watching this, give us a call, come and join us. Senior Life offers lead financing. So again, you're able to join us. The first week we're financing the leads, whatever charges are coming, we're getting them from your commissions. And bottom line, if you leave a balance or whatever, then we're just going to charge a credit card because that's the agreement. Unfortunately, a lot of agents say one thing and they do another thing. So we get the way it works. But if you're dead serious about your career and your future, this is going to work out for you. And lastly, I want to give a shout out to my friend Lena for hooking me up with my Oakleys. She gave them to me back in 2020. And these are actually my nice pair. I usually wear gas station glasses, which I like, but I just want to let you know, I thank you for my glasses, Lena. I've been rocking them almost every day, as you see. So anyways, guys, I hope you guys have a great Friday. And if I can help you, please call me. And I'm going to do my best to get more of our agents to get them on this video platform. A lot of people hate coming on here, but you know what? We're in 2023. And more being on a digital platform is really going to help you in the future as you're dealing with clients that are a lot more, savvy when it comes to the internet. They're on social media. Think about that. So I'm going to do my best to bring more testimonials so you guys can listen to their perspective because it helps. So with that said, I hope you guys have a great Friday and see you guys at the top. And Mr. Dan, thank you once again for sharing your point of view with everybody. I really appreciate that. And I know a lot of people else did too. Okay. Thank you.